Hey y'all, Matt here from RetroOnly.com. Today I'm going to be answering another question about the Nintendo Switch. And more specifically, today's video is going to be about Switch controllers. The question I'm going to be answering today is, should your Switch controller be wired or wireless, as is the case with this controller down here? If you're brand new to the world of gaming, or even just brand new to the Switch, you might have seen that there are wired Switch controllers and wireless Switch controllers, and be wondering which one should you get for your Switch. So that's what I'm going to cover in today's video. Before we get to that, please be sure to hit that like button down below and then also subscribe to our channel. It really does help us out a lot, as it allows our channel and these videos to be seen all across the internet, and people who have the exact same question as you to be able to get their questions answered by finding this video as well. So it helps us out and also helps out people who have this exact same question as well. So let's go ahead and hop into covering whether you should buy a wired or wireless Switch controller. Honestly, when it comes to Switch controllers, there are a lot of them on the market. As you can see here in front of me, I have just a few of the ones that are available. And that's because in the next couple of months, I'm going to be doing some strings of videos or some different parts comparing all the different controllers that are currently available for the Nintendo Switch, and whether buying the Switch Pro is worth the price or whether you can just stick with the generic and those sorts of things. Now in this video, we're going to be talking specifically about wired versus wireless controllers. As with everything, whether it's the Switch, any console, or virtually anything in life, there are pros and cons, and for some people wired will be better, while for other people wireless will be better. Let's first dive into my personal opinion. Personally, I would never buy a wired controller for the Switch. One of the best things about the Switch is its portability. You are able to take it anywhere. You are able to use it from anywhere. It takes up a small amount of space. For example, all of my consoles that I have here behind me, I have an Xbox, I have an NES Classic, I have the NES, I have the N64, I have etc, PlayStation Classic, Sega Genesis Classic, on and on and on. And I have plenty of retro older consoles as well. All of those take up a lot of space. The Switch does not. The Switch actually doesn't sit up here in my game area. It actually sits downstairs because my kids play it all the time. And all it takes up is the little thin spot of a dock, almost the size of this box, and that's it. It sits right on top of my soundbar. It's really, really small. And if I were to have to add a wired controller to that, it would honestly make it far less usable. Using a wireless controller is far easier. Now, I grew up playing games with a wired controller. My first game console that I ever had was an NES. And on the NES, of course, you had those wired controllers that were extremely short. So we would sit really close to the TV and play our Nintendo games with those really short controllers. But what would always happen is someone would trip over them. They would get left out, and my mom or my dad would get mad at us for leaving a mess all over the living room. And all of that can be prevented by using a wireless controller. Not only does it make that easy, but it also makes cleanup easy too. I don't have to wrap any cords up. I don't have to rubber band them together. I don't have to twist tie them together to make them look nice. To make my wireless controller look nice, I take it and I set it down because it's done. It doesn't have any nasty looking wires. It's just far more aesthetically pleasing to have wireless controllers than wired. So it's so much easier in those regards. It's also easier in that I don't have to be close to the TV. Most of our modern gaming rooms, living rooms, those sorts of areas where we'll place the Switch console is separated out. My TV is mounted on the wall. The distance between the TV and the couch where I sit or my kids sit while playing the Switch is probably close to 12 feet or so away, because our couch is against the far wall and our TV is then mounted on the wall. So we're 10 to 12 feet away from that TV and that Switch sitting on the couch. So if we were to have wired controllers, we would have to sit on the floor to play it, again, getting in the way. We would have to move the couch, which I don't think my wife would appreciate, or we'd have to do something different. Wireless is the way to go. It is much better to simply buy wireless switch controllers than to go for the cheaper wired ones. Now, when might this change? When might this vary? This could vary. Some people might prefer wired controllers if they're into gaming a lot, because there is a small bit of lag in regards to using wireless controllers. However, in most of the modern day controllers, this lag is either A, not noticeable, or B, so small it's not noticeable except for in the most extreme of circumstances. Again, if you're a big hardcore gamer though, you're probably not going to be using the Switch and playing Yoshi's Crafted World. You're probably going to be playing other games and you likely won't be on the Switch. The Switch isn't necessarily designed for hardcore gamers. It's not designed for those people who play and stream on Twitch or those sorts of things. It's designed for people like me who have a family, who the family loves to play it and they love to have fun with easier games like this or games like Mario that are nostalgic. Those sorts of things, that's what the Switch is designed for. So you probably won't need a wired controller in that scenario. The other thing is if you simply don't like having a dead controller on your hands. Obviously, wireless controllers are eventually going to die, and at that point, you're going to have to recharge them. But all of them, from the cheapest generic, which is what this is, to the most expensive one, which is the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, all of them will die eventually, and you can recharge all of them. It's not like you have to replace a bunch of AA batteries or AAA batteries like it used to be back when rechargeable controllers or wireless controllers back in the day. I still have my Wii controllers that take 2 AA batteries. It's annoying to have to dig out 2 AA batteries and swap them out for the wireless controllers. You don't have to worry about that with Switch controllers anymore. It is simply plug it into the wall overnight and it's charged by morning time. So wired controllers can be good if you don't want to fool with the hassle, but again, I personally would prefer to just buy a couple of wireless controllers. They're cheap enough, especially if you buy the generics. They're cheap enough where you can get those for a relatively inexpensive price. That's what these are for, the generics are for. And then you don't have to worry about, oh, this one died and I have to wait for it to recharge. Just get 2. Play with one for a while. When it dies, plug it in, pop out the other one, use that one. It's that simple. Honestly, I personally don't see any reason why someone would feel a wired controller is necessary, besides the fact that they're cheaper. For me, my personal opinion, the hassle factor of wired controllers is simply not worth the few dollars that you're going to be saving. Having to take the wire and wrap it around the controller, or tape it and twist tie the wire up, or rubber band the wire together and then put it back in the container or wherever you store your controllers, and it still looks messy and it still is a pain because you can't play it from sitting on your couch or sitting wherever your furniture is. It's just not worth it. Honestly, it's not. So I would 100% recommend that you get a wireless controller rather than a wire controller. It's worth the extra few bucks. If you're interested in knowing what the cheapest wireless controller is, that's this one that I personally use. It has good reviews, as well as I personally tested it out, have had no issues with the way that it works. I'll go ahead and link to this particular controller in the description down below as well. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Again, my name is Matt from RetroOnly.com. Have a great day.